Kevin Zhang, everyone. Good afternoon, INTOLIGHT friends and family, and on behalf of the university, thank you for joining us here today at Cal State San Bernardino for the INTOLIGHT California Gifting Gathering. I'm Ariana Hume, the director of the Anthropology Museum. 9 months ago, we gathered together for the first time to open an exhibition. Soon thereafter, clouds gathered over San Bernardino and it rained 2 inches in less than an hour. Much of the campus flooded, including parts of this one, and repairs are still taking place in the library and the arena. Now, I'm an anthropologist, not an English professor, but I can appreciate the poetic beauty where a natural event so closely mirrors a community's emotional state. The sky wept with us. The INTOLIGHT project aims to open one exhibition in every state, each an opportunity for families and friends to honor their loved ones lost to substance use disorder, drug overdose, and drug poisoning, to remember them as whole persons, and to create a community with others who are grieving. This exhibition was for you, and it's been my goal throughout the process of developing and overseeing this exhibition to ensure that you are respected and heard and cared for. It's in this light that I want to share with you some of the ways that your participation in this exhibition has impacted the CSUSB campus. INTOLIGHT California is the first exhibition at Cal State San Bernardino that's been deeply and widely integrated into campus programming and student learning. Classes from the departments of social work, sociology, nursing, art and design, theater, anthropology, criminal justice, and counseling all toured and completed assignments about the exhibition. INTOLIGHT California also served as the setting for a bi-monthly workshop series put on by the Campus Counseling and Psychological Services Office. The San Bernardino Department of Behavioral Health, DBH, offered campus resource fairs that brought Narcan trainings and Narcan and fentanyl testing strip distribution to CSUSB for the first time. And talks are underway to make these resources available going forward permanently. A grant from the Office of Community Engagement also brought Inland Empire Harm Reduction, a local nonprofit, to campus to deliver resource awareness programming to departments and clubs on both the main campus and the Palm Desert campus. INTOLIGHT California additionally welcomed hundreds of K-12 students through a partnership with the Office of Pre-College Programs. With academic technologies and innovations, we're working presently to create a 360-degree virtual tour of the exhibition that will allow INTOLIGHT California to live on from your mobile device or your computer screen and make it accessible to students, family, and friends around the world. And of course, we're honored and humbled that Kevin Zhang from the Department of Music composed the haunting ballad that he played for you this afternoon, which was developed by mapping the alphabet to a musical scale and then artistically playing the initials of your loved ones. Your strength in sharing your loved ones' stories made all of this possible. On behalf of Cal State San Bernardino, on behalf of the Anthropology Museum, and on behalf of my project collaborator from the counseling program, Lorraine Hedke, I thank you. You're now going to hear from 2 of my colleagues who were deeply touched by the exhibition and who were able to directly incorporate the exhibition into programming as a catalyst for building awareness and instigating change on the CSUSB campus and beyond. You're first going to hear from Carolyn McAllister, Director of the School of Social Work in the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences, followed by Kurt Manio, the Associate Director of Cal SOAP from the Office of Pre-College Programs. Carolyn?
Thank you so much, Ari. Ari sent an email out to a number of us asking if we would volunteer or would be willing to come and say a few words at the gifting ceremony. And I think I waited all of 2 minutes before I emailed her, mainly because I don't like public speaking, but I knew I wanted to come because I wanted to let you know just how much the stories that you shared with us impacted my students, myself, and our communities. When we came, my son and I, who's sitting in the back, came to the opening event, I knew we had been given a tremendous gift. And that was the gift of the stories of your loved ones. I knew I wanted to make sure that my students in the School of Social Work also got to share in that gift. I wanted to let you know that what you did makes a difference now. Social work students are the face of mental health services, substance abuse treatment, child welfare work, school social work, and countless other places. And they work in all sorts of places where they're going to encounter individuals and families with similar backgrounds and stories. Because of this exhibit, my students have learned to see the human face behind fentanyl overdose. Classes came to interact with the exhibit. We invited speakers to talk about the signs and symptoms of fentanyl overdose. And we're in final steps to make sure our students will have access to Narcan to do something when they encounter an overdose, not if, because most of my students will encounter an overdose at some point. So again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for sharing your loved ones with us. I'm really sad to see this exhibit leave campus. It's something I went to many times over the year. But I know our learning is going to continue. And again, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I've been in this lecture hall hundreds of times, and I've never seen it set up like this. It was truly moving when I walked in. It looks really great. I always see that piano there, and I've never seen it played. So that was a great touch. First of all, thank you, Dr. Hoon, for inviting me to speak today. Like Dr. McAllister said, it was easy. It was easy, an easy ask. I've so appreciated having the opportunity to work with you during this past academic year, so thank you. And good afternoon, everyone. As Dr. Yoon said, my name is Kurt Manio. I work for a program on campus called CalSOAP. It's a California Student Opportunity and Access Program. In essence, what we do is we work with various high schools in San Bernardino County. We work with high school students to, of course, help them graduate. We provide them with the support to help them graduate high school, but then also give them college and career readiness to increase their opportunity and access to post-secondary education opportunities. So a lot of what we do is we bring students to campus for a campus tour, but we're always looking for ways to highlight, to kind of get them engaged in like what actually happens on campus, right? Not just like, hey, come here, that's the building, that's where admissions is. We're really trying to build something out where it could have like an impactful experience for the students. That's kind of how our partnership started with Dr. Hoon and the anthropology department. So what we would do is we would bring students to campus. They would start by doing a workshop with Dr. Hoon about anthropology, the importance and the impact of storytelling and using artifacts to tell those stories. We would then bring them to the INTOLIGHT Museum. And then during lunch, we would facilitate a conversation about what their experience was like. And then we ended the day by them participating in a workshop with the IE harm reduction. So I'm sure you guys have all worked with high school students or have high school students. When you build a program like this, you really never know how it's going to go and how they're going to take it. But it was such an impactful experience, not only for the students, but for the counselors and teachers that brought them. Some of the things that we talked about when we were having lunch, just how much they appreciated like the experience and being able to talk about things that unfortunately they know is impacting their community, but nobody really facilitates that type of conversation at home or at their schools. So it was a highly impactful experience. And that's really what it's all about, right? When we're talking about college and career readiness, we're not trying to bring students to school so that we could just prepare them for the workforce. It's really to prepare them to be productive members of society, right? And that means being engaged in what's going on in your community. So it was quite an impactful experience. I was like, it was an honor and a privilege to be a part of it. And really, we have, Dr. Hune, of course, you to thank for it, but all of the friends, all of the family, all the loved ones that are in this room. I truly appreciate the level of vulnerability you had to take, the level of courage it took to be a part of something like this. I never took it lightly that, for our students and for our staff, it was a learning experience, but I know this is like a real life experience for everyone sitting in this room. So I truly appreciate it. I'm asked to do a lot of projects in my job. And these are one of the projects where it was just really like, it was such an easy ask. I was humbled by the opportunity to take part in it. So thank you all.
So with that, we have concluded our introduction from the university, and now I'd like to introduce to you Teresa Clower, founder of INTOLIGHT Project.
Thank you, Mary, and welcome, everyone. This is a wonderful, exciting state to be in. I'm from North Carolina, but I have to say that California, as it relates to INTOLIGHT, is amazing. You've set the bar so high. This is our 7th state. We just opened Delaware up last week, and we plan on Colorado the end of August. We moved from there into Alabama. We have South Carolina lined up, Massachusetts lined up, Utah, and I've lost track. We're working in about 11 different states right now in various capacities. So I thank you all for the wonderful welcome and the wonderful participation that this state has shown. You have notes. I usually do notes and then I never stick with them, but I am going to acknowledge some very special people right now. First of all, unfortunately, my colleague Barbara Francois, who did most of the narrative writing, and many of you may have had connections with Barbara, was unable to be here. She had a health situation at the last minute, but she sends her regards. And she has been a tremendous support to this project from the time where it didn't even have a name at that time. So we have been partnering in this for 4 years now. Cal State San Bernardino has, I can't even begin to tell you how wonderful this organization has been. We appreciate their support, their financial support. We also tremendously appreciate the director of the Anthropology Museum, Ariana Hahn. Ariana. Ariana has been right from the beginning. She was the very first university representative to contact me. I put a call out for universities across the country. She, within 2 hours, I was so ecstatic. And that was like 3 years ago that we began that relationship. COVID hit, we postponed this show for a year. So it has been 3 solid years of work. 2 years of that have been in very, very strong preparation. Ariana is amazing in her vision. All of the memorabilia is a new aspect of this program. We let the universities kind of decide and form the program in the way that they feel is best. And she immediately said, let's try artifacts, memorabilia from the families. And that has added such a beautiful depth to this exhibition. I think you would all agree to that. She has done so much to intersect with the various colleges in this university, as well as the community. Her vision and her skill is fabulous. All you have to do is step aside when Ariana is working and let her do it, because she's that. So thank you. And would you come up for just 1 second? We have a little gift for you, and it's down in here. So we'd like you to have one of our t-shirts and a catalog. And for those of you, do you want to open that, Ari? This t-shirt, where's Lori? Lori's right there. Lori McCormick designed this project, raised us $1,300 by doing that. Thank you, Lori. And it has all of the portraits from California. And it's, again, a first because California has done lots of firsts. We don't have this in any other state yet, but we're sure getting requests. So for you, you've been wonderful. Yeah, so that, and we'd also love to bring the San Bernardino Health Department. We have a little something for you as well. They have been our major sponsor. So if you would come up, Jennifer, and we have a little same thing for you. And they have been wonderful. And I understand you're probably going to talk a little bit about it when you speak, but this program may continue in year 2 and beyond. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. It's not my baby to really divulge, but thank you so much for your support. They've been our major sponsor. We have Elizabeth Jones. Elizabeth is our artist. Would you like to stand, Elizabeth? Elizabeth, she did all of the portraits. This is another first. When this project began, I was doing all of the portraits at that time, and have, because of the size of it and the growth of it, I've had to back off a little. Elizabeth was working with me, but then she took on the entire series because I had a serious injury to my shoulder and I couldn't draw last year. So she did all of these beautiful portraits, and I think you all have to agree that's really nice. So thank you. I also have a t-shirt for you. So here's your t-shirt. Thank you so much. And I also have a catalog for you. I forgot. All right. So finally, I'd like to thank you all. And you've been thanked before. Other speakers have talked about the importance of what you as families, friends have done. Without you, none of this would happen. A vision is just a vision. It takes community to pull it together. Thank you for the trust that it took. You often, and the difficulty. I know how hard that narrative to fill it out, to go through pictures. All of that is very difficult. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for making this such a beautiful series. And it is, by the way, statewide. We have people from all over the state in this exhibition. So I'd like to just reflect on a little bit of what this project really means. And yes, there's a lot of beauty standing on these easels behind me. There's a lot of heartfelt stories. But the value for me, the true value in this project is what we actually can't really see and we really can't measure. And so much of that happens very quietly as people are going through this exhibition. And we know for a fact that all of your loved ones and their stories are changing hearts and they're changing minds. I can give you an example. We had a medical professional come in, a doctor in training, and he came and he studied every single portrait and read every single story. And he considered that part of his training. And he wrote a beautiful note back to us saying that he felt that this project was going to deepen his compassion, his empathy, his understanding of his patients. I think that's something that we don't necessarily see. The high school students that were here were changing their attitudes. And it's the part of the project, the value in the project that is shedding light on a disease. I'm not going to speak to you all about what that means. We know. I mean, I'm one of you. I lost my son, Devin, right here. I'm not going to preach to the choir, but I want you to understand that what we're doing is so much deeper than just the exhibition. And I believe that firmly, that we're making a big difference. So I do have a call to action before I stop. And I would like all of you to wear that button and do it for at least 6 months. And I know for a fact, have any of you been wearing it? And have you had responses? Have you had yeah. So what you need to do, and I'll forewarn you, you don't want to go into too much detail because then whoever asks you about it's going to really regret that they asked you, right? But you need to have a little, like an elevator speech. And you're going to talk about this loved one. And you're going to just say, you know, and don't even need to bring up the fact that they died from addiction. If you want to, you can. But that isn't necessarily why they should know about. They need to know that Devin, my son, was a lot more than his disease. So I'm charging all of you as continue homework in this project. You're not off the hook yet. We're asking you to do that and then share the buttons. Ari's going to give you a button, a whole package full of extra buttons. Each of you will get that and share those with others. And I do think as this little light of ours goes through the country, we're going to start seeing these more and more and more. And so you have a little bit more work to do. But thank you all for everything you've done, for supporting this project, and for your work moving forward. So.
Thank you, Teresa. The next person who'd like to speak with you is Jennifer Alsina from the Department of Behavioral Health.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be here today with all of you to close out this powerful and important exhibition. I first want to thank the INTOLIGHT project and Cal State San Bernardino's Anthropology Museum for allowing us to be part of this exhibition and to partner with the Department of Behavioral Health. We have a shared goal of spreading awareness on addiction and substance use disorders. This is a great step in creating a community in San Bernardino County that recognizes the impacts of substance use disorders. In the Department of Behavioral Health, the Substance Use Disorder and Recovery Services team works to educate and provide support to individuals and their families who may be impacted by substance use disorders. During the course of the exhibition, we did a number of resource fairs, like Ariana mentioned, and a couple of them are here today, so I just want to acknowledge them. Alex Cordova, he did, if not all the Narcan trainings, most of the Narcan trainings for all the visitors for the exhibition, so thank you, Alex. And also Dr. Avalos. Dr. Avalos has a signed standing order in our county that allows our staff to give Narcan out to community members. So thank you, Dr. Avalos. To the loved ones of the individuals highlighted in this exhibit, our hearts continue to be with you. We thank you for your strength and courage to share your loved ones with all who walk through these doors. Thank you. At this time, I want to invite Jaime up with me. Jaime is a member of our local Stop the Void group. Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jaime Puerta, and I just want to thank you all of us here for inviting us here. Ms. Cloward, for bringing our children into the light, where slowly but surely the walls of stigma and addiction are bringing these kids into the light where there is no shame, and they all have their own stories, and you're continuing that stories for us, and we will always be indebted to you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Miss Ariana Hoon, Dr. Hoon. What can I say? There are no amount of accolades that we can pour on you to just thank you for what you've done and so many others. We have a foundation called Void Victims of Illicit Drugs. Amy Neville is our vice president, Steve Filson, our secretary treasurer. And we are happy to announce a partnership with the County of San Bernardino, where a specific fentanyl awareness campaign is going to be launched. And we're working with San Bernardino County, and I think San Bernardino County Sheriff's is joining this as well. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because we're having a soft lunch that's going to start next week, I believe. And we're going to start with billboards all across San Bernardino County. And what we would like to do is we would like to include, with your permission, the pictures of your beautiful children. And we would love for you to be a part of that, because I think it's very necessary that everybody in San Bernardino County sees who our children are. So there's going to be, I know you have already had some release forms signed, but those release forms were into the light and the university. We need the release forms for the County of San Bernardino. Just legal stuff that we have to go through. So if you could please sign that. If you would like to be a part of our campaign in conjunction with the County of San Bernardino, when you walk out, please make sure that you sign the release form, and then on top right-hand corner, write the name of your loved one on it, okay? Thank you.
So we are going to do a soft launch in June. Our long-term plan is to do a full one in the next year. So if you participate, what we would like to do is have constant communication with you. None of it is going to be a surprise if you participate. So if you sign a release form, you'll get my card. So if you change your mind, you can contact me. And we also like to report the outcomes of our media campaign to you, so you know what the impact is. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you, Jaime. We've reached the part of our program where we'd like to hear from some of the families. There were 12 families that requested to speak to you briefly today about their experiences with INTOLIGHT. You know who you are. If you'd like to make your way forward and take a seat in the front row, the seats are reserved and have your names on them. And I'll just have you introduce yourselves as you come up. I know some people sent some regrets that they weren't able to come after all, so you might have some empty seats there. You have a seat somewhere. There you go. All right. So I think we'll go ahead and start. Thank you.
Hello, fellow families. I'm Susan Shipp, and I am Kyle's mom. And that was my identity, Kyle's mom. He was my only child, my best friend. When I lost my son, I pulled my love for him, my memories, everything so close to my heart. And I didn't want to let anything go. And then I heard about INTOLIGHT, and I watched Teresa's interview talking about Devin. And I knew that this was something that I wanted myself and Kyle to be a part of. And that he would be understood here. And he would be respected here. And he would be loved. And it's been that way every step of the process, from the interview, the portrait, meeting Teresa and Dr. Moon, It's been just a beautiful, beautiful experience. And my heart tells me that Kyle is proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
I was kind of had a semi speech prepared, but now it's completely out of my head. I'm Jennifer Loza. Back here in the second row is my son, Stephen. And I have to say, with the nonprofit that I run, we do peer support grief services to children, teens, and their families throughout Riverside County. And we also have Forever 18 fentanyl awareness. So we present to schools. So often I'm talking about my grief for Stephen or how Stephen died. It's not often that I feel like people want to hear about Stephen and what made Stephen Stephen. So Teresa, I thank you from the very bottom of my heart for having the courage to create something so wonderful out of your loss. It has been amazing from the very beginning. When I did my interview, I truly felt like he really wanted to know about Steve. Like he was talking about his own family member. And it was such a privilege and an honor to walk in and see it so beautifully written about who my son was, not how he died, not the stigma that's attached. You know, you hear often comments made like, well, they knew drugs were dangerous, like there's an insinuation that they deserve to die. They didn't want to hear about Stephen, and they don't remember Stephen the way I do. So thank you for giving me that. And for the portrait, I have to say, I will forever look at that on my wall, and I will think about the love and the respect and the empathy and compassion we got here. That'll be something I carry with me always. So thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart.
Good afternoon. My name is Steve Filson. I'd also like to introduce my wife who is with me, Cherie, along with our, if I call her beautiful granddaughter, she's my cute granddaughter, Alara. Months ago, we met when this wonderful exhibit opened at the university's Anthropology Museum. Seeing Jessica and all the other beautiful portraits along with their stories assured our family that her death was not in vain. We gathered, sharing circumstances with a common theme of substance use disorder. As with Jessica, in many cases, illicit fentanyl was a direct cause of their death. When fentanyl doesn't kill, it is likely due to its highly addictive nature to directly contribute to addiction. Fentanyl fueled these tragedies. Fentanyl changes everything, and but for fentanyl, thousands who have died from this poison would still be here. Fentanyl has forever changed the illicit drug narrative. Our society, through a lingering stigma, has for far too long relegated addiction to the backdrop. It's time for that to change. And the INTOLIGHT project is a model that focuses on the need for that to occur. Today's ceremony doesn't end the story, but begins a new chapter. We need to return to our communities and never let our loved one's story be forgotten, but instead be told again and again to forever be remembered as a legacy in which through their death, lives can and will be saved. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Robin Roberts, and I'm here with my husband Strider over there and our support group of fellow parents. Our son Sage Lewis is on the end of the second row. I didn't expect so much emotion today, but it is profound to be here again. When I first heard of INTOLIGHT, I knew within a few minutes that we had to participate, But the one thing that nagged me in the back of my mind was Sage would so hate this. He wanted no one in his business. And this is very clearly everyone's business, isn't it? Yeah, the loving community that he felt cut off from once his addiction and the ensuing mental illness emerged. One really unexpected and surprising thing that happened when we brought this into the light was that I got a call about 2 months ago from Sage's birth mother, who found him online from the INTOLIGHT exhibit. When I got the call and she left me the message, we've spoken before, but for years she was under the radar. I thought, oh my God, am I going to have to tell this woman that her child died? And no, she knew because of INTOLIGHT. So it brings families together. In my early emails with Ariana, I said, Sage has a poem about his experience with addiction that we included in the exhibit. And I said, I'd love to hear someone read it. I've never heard it read out loud. And Ariana said, well, you may not remember this. How about you write something, Robin? And you could say it too. Well, I wasn't writing at the time, but 6 months ago, I started writing poetry. So here it is, Ariana. And I hope that Elizabeth and Teresa and Kevin, all of the creative spirit that has come from this is a tribute to you too. This is what I've learned the dead can do. They play all kinds of tricks with light. They can make the lights flicker on and off and on again when you're talking about them. They can make rainbows appear over our heads in photos by their graves. And they make colored orbs of light dance where we've spread their ashes. I think they're trying to tell us something, if only we knew the code. I think they're saying, we're here. Look what we've learned to do in the time we've been away. We can talk with light. This is what the living can do with light. We can shine it on the hidden pain within ourselves that we imagine separates us, so that we can find our common roots. Bring all our stories out and turn our faces to the sun. Remove the thorns of blame and stigma so our wounds can sigh and breathe. Rid the dead of the blight of shame that covered them in life and separated them from loving themselves. And this is what we must do. Take the darkest part of the story and bathe it in the light of our love. Polish it with every retelling so that even the dead can see themselves differently. So as their true selves for the first time and know what we can do with the light. Thank you.
My name is Lisa Marquez, and my son is the third one right here. His name's Fernando. He was my only child. And when I first heard of Into the Light Project, I kind of brushed it off because I heard the word addict. And I thought to myself, like many parents have probably said, I did exactly what I hear all the time, is my child's wasn't an addict. And I didn't really understand what Into the Light Project was. And it wasn't until the Santa Clara County District Attorney emailed me and another parent and said, hey, this came across my desk and I think it's a good opportunity to share your son's story, which you and another mom, Geraldine's been doing. So I said, okay. And then I got a message from Perla, another mom. She asked, "Are you gonna register Fernando? There's only a couple spots left." And then I really looked into it, and she did explain to me what it was about. And it was changing the way people look at addiction and about overdose. And that's been the hardest word, I think, since losing my son, is overdose. And so it's changing the way people putting names and faces on all of our stories, and for people to really see what we really lost. And my son, to know that my son's story is saving lives, educating people, changing the way we look at overdose and addiction. And it makes me feel good to be a part of it, because in California, there's so many families grieving by themselves because of shame, because they don't want people to look at their child as and think negative, right? So I'm feel blessed that I've been part of this small group when really it's so many other families out there. And I think every opportunity I've had has been a blessing, working with Jaime and Amy and just so many wonderful parents doing what they need to be done in their cities, their towns, and all across California. So I, again, thank you for being so gentle with us. Doing the interviews, reading my son's story back, I didn't even realize some of the things I said, but you guys, God, it was such good detail. And it was amazing. I was like, oh, I didn't even know I talked about that. So thank you for just being so detailed in the picture. I can't imagine how hard that must have been for you to just look at each face and with detail. You did such a good job. Thank you. And the music, everything was just perfect. And I just want to thank you, Ariana, and thank you, Teresa, for just giving us the opportunity to share our kids with you. Thank you.
Mine is going to be super short. My name is Araceli, and Rafa is my son. He's way in the back, right there. First, I want to acknowledge and thank each one of you who made this possible. I am forever grateful. I was given the opportunity to share Rafa's story. INTOLIGHT project was the beginning of my healing after losing my only son to fentanyl. I was not even at a year when this healing began through INTOLIGHT. Before INTOLIGHT project, we suffered, including my husband and daughters, Rafa's substance use disorder in silence, and didn't understand the severity of his substance misuse. These new words that have to be used, that I have to get used to using, because it's not what I thought before or used before. Because of INTOLIGHT project, I am able to say on June 18th, 2021, my son passed away from an overdose without shame or fear of judgment. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alvinita Pena. Oh gosh. And I am a staff member and a lecturer here at Cal State San Bernardino. But most importantly, I'm the older sister of Michael Anthony Pena Jr. When I signed up to be a part of this, my brother had passed a year earlier, and just 2 days ago, it would have been his birthday, so happy birthday, Booger. I was dealing with the loss of the best little brother one could ever ask for, and I was doing it silently. And when he passed, I thought, not like this, and I was searching because that couldn't be the end. I didn't know how to tell people he passed from fentanyl and poisoning, and I felt helpless and alone. INTOLIGHT provided a community and a medium to share his story while giving me a better understanding of what I can do to ease the stigma of substance use disorder with one hard and honest conversation at a time. Sorry for the sniffles. I started this journey not being able to say his name without falling apart, but now, if you ask me about Mikey, I'll tell you about the embarrassing stories he hated me to tell, but made us both laugh like the time he loved to wear cowboy boots, but could never put the right shoe on the right foot. Or about the time I told him I would pay him $1 if he stuck his hand down the toilet. Thank you. I was 7 years old. I didn't have $1. I would tell you that he was brave and funny, and I wish I would have known what I know now. My brother's memory lives on through this program, and it gives my family and I peace knowing that others can read or hear about him. It didn't just focus on how he died, but also how he lived. So thank you, Into the Light. Thank you, CSUSB. And thank you, San Bernardino County Department of Behavioral Health. I'm so thankful for you all, and thank you all for sharing your special person to make this more impactful. Thank you.
Our son is Jeffrey, Jeffrey with the G, David Tamayo. And my wife, Michelle, here. And I'm Mario Tamayo, Jeff's dad. And now you all are our brothers and sisters. As we share a connection nobody else knows about. I want to thank Ariana and your team here, because you skillfully, very carefully, with super sensitivity and great detail, have helped us to honor our children, honor our son in such a beautiful way. And you have set the bar. And I hope every state in this country, I hope every country in this world will learn from you, because you got a bright future. And I thank you. There are three things that have impacted us, my wife and me. And the first one, well, you can remember it by the acronym GAP, G-A-P. And the G stands for grief. And what you've done is you've helped us to navigate through the tough gates and the ups and downs of going through this grief, and of learning and helping to prepare for the triggers that we all we all come up against, from music to pictures to people texting and calling us at weird times. And so thank you for that. We're navigating through this grief. The A stands for advocacy. And what you've done is you've inspired us to become more advocates about what made our son Jeff great, because he was far greater than he was having just an addiction. And we do that by sharing the programs and sharing your website and the buttons and talking about our children. And even Teresa, Elizabeth, it inspired me to draw and to share my drawing. Now they're nowhere as good as yours, but that's what this program has done. And then really the bottom line here is you have made it so that we can magnify our pride, the pride that we have in our son. And we do that. I've become more comfortable in wearing the jewelry. I'm wearing the jewelry that he had on when he died, his watch, his rings, the beads that he gave me. This was our wedding band together. And his t-shirt, Stay Up. He started clothing lines. He did fantastic things on TikTok and YouTube, just getting people to realize that an addiction is not a stigma. And I want all of us here to think that in our own way, we all can be advocates, as we are proud to extend the legacy of our children. My wife wears his ring that he wore around her neck. There's so many things that I feel good about wearing his artifacts and having his pictures around the house. And it's just fantastic. So those are the three things. In summary, it's just the gap, helping us with the grief, helping us to become better advocates, and having more pride, magnifying our pride. So would you all join me in standing up? I would like to get a standing ovation to Teresa and to Ariana and to finally, may our memories of all our children continue to be a blessing for all of us. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone, for those really heartfelt words. I'd like to call Jaime Puerta back up for the poetry reading.
Okay. Thank you. Tis a fearful thing. I'm gonna see if I can get through this. Oh, I got this stuff. All right. Tis a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, to hope, to dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools, this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me. Your laugh once lifted me. Your word was gift to me. To remember this brings painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love what death has touched. This poem was by Yehida Halevi. Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to introduce this piece that we're about to see. It was written by a sister of Andrew Hightower. Erin is in Pennsylvania, and her family was part of our Pennsylvania exhibition. And she's a professional musician, so she wrote this and performed it.
All right, we're rolling.
Been some time now since you've gone away. I'm not sure how you've gone off day to day, 'cause I miss you and I wish that I had held you in my arms to say you'll be okay. Love you every second, every minute of every hour. I fix it all, would have taken all your pain if I had the power to change this fate. Some days I feel like I'm dreaming, can't be real. Looking for your call to ask me how I feel. Well, I miss you, and I wish that you could see the things that I have done. You were always the one who believed in me. I loving you every second, every minute of every hour. I see it all, would have taken all your pain if I had the power to change change this way. I'd be more present, I would share more affection, I would tell your pain. Wipe all your tears, remove your doubts, erase your visions. I will take your pain. 'Cause I miss you, and I wish that I held you in my arms. Say you'll be okay. Every second, every minute of every hour. You know you're paying if I had the power to change this thing.
At this point, we're going to begin the formal part of our program where you all will receive your portraits. Though Chase is a member of our Board of Trustees and will be reading each of the names of your loved ones, Elizabeth will take the portrait and bring it up here. So if you, as many of you would like to come up and to receive your portrait, please do so. So if you just come down, pick it up, and then go on back to your seats. That's how it will work out. So, oh,
Thank you, Teresa. I'd like to say a special thanks to each and every one of you out there who's had the love and courage to bring your loved one to be part of this project. I too have a portrait in my home. My son Clark passed away 2.5 years ago. And I know and understand the emotion each and every one of you is going through. So thank you. And please forgive me if I mispronounce anybody's name. First, Jessica Dugan. Tyler Ian Abbott. Jason Abney. Stephen Betancourt. Jason Bloke. Anthony Micah Calvert. Arnold Salablos. Trevor Jeffrey Dennis. Kyle M. Dosky. Daniel Elijah Figueroa. Jessica Shelby Filson. Rafael Rafa Gonzalez. Sky James. Jacob Alexander Lee. Joseph Gino Jaimez. Carly Ryan Johnston. Sage Walker Lewis. Stephen Lee Loza. Michael Ryan Jacob McCormick. Melanie Meehan. Alexander Neville. Stephen Scuba Noah. Candace Nicole Norton. Natalie Louise Nunez. Michael Anthony Pena Jr. Daniel Huerta Johnson. Sarah Jane Roach. Rhonda Saldana, Mama Rhonda. Fernando Michael Sanchez. Dylan Kaya Sorrentos. Tyler Joseph Shalmas. Kyle Leland Ship. Cameron Richard Schoecker. Harley Lynn Moto Swank. Jeffrey David Tomeo. Christian Taylor. Michael M.T. Taylor. Jacob Vasquez. Robert Joseph Wise. Alex Wilt Schmegel or Nova Obscura.
Story.
Epitaph. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give to me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I have known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on in your eyes and not your mind. You can love the most by letting hands touch hands, and by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is lost, give me away. By Merritt Malloy.
Well, Devin's always the last one remaining. He started it. His life has inspired this. And I swear his energy keeps it going because it's not me. This is his gift to his mom in my retirement. How's that? Love the guy to death. Y'all take good care. Thank you for coming.